Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Benchwarmers time, baby. It is Thursday. I know it's not the usual day, but we'll somehow get back onto the Monday schedule, et cetera, et cetera. JM1620, what's going on? Flashfire in the house. Hold on one second. That cough just kind of crept up on me there for a second. Apache Pothead, what's up? Anyway, as always, if you're not able to catch the show live, you can catch us on YouTube, Hat-Club. Be sure to subscribe to us and, throw some likes your way. Our way. Sorry. I'll throw a like at you. I like you guys. Anyway, oh my God, I'm choking right now. Yours truly, what's going on? Any more pinkies dropping? Goddamn right there are. This is pinky season, baby. Yesterday was just the beginning. Or today. Sorry, today. Today was just the beginning. Kicks Kicks and EDC, what's going on? Manzer 50, best of AZ. My name is Eric. I might die on screen today because I am just like, oh my God, hold on. I don't know what the hell happened, man. Just all of a sudden, it's got this block in my throat. My God. Yeah. I might need some milk. You never know, dude. No, it's like I got a tonsil stone stuck or something like that. But Southside Siemens Haterite says Tef wears 4 hats a stream, and this guy can't be bothered to change 2 streams in a row. You know what? Deal with it, bro. I grabbed what was available. We just did laundry, so I'm trying to minimize the amount of clean clothes I have to burn through, just on account of the fact that my wife and I are going to Vegas next weekend for AEW Double or Nothing. But she's actually going to LA on Monday because she's going to 2 Pearl Jam shows down there. So this is just, thinking critically right now. Obviously, I've got a shit ton of hats behind me that I can change through, whatever. Got all these basketball jerseys I can wear, whatever. But you know what? Today, I just decided to wear what I wore yesterday because why not? My name is Eric asks, is there a Rockies pinky in the mix? I believe there is. I'm not sure off the top of my head which drop it's going to be, but I know for a fact that there will be. We tried to hit every team as much as possible. So we got like a month's worth of drops to get through to get to that stage. So you got time, brother. Anyway, now that I'm no longer choking, jersey picks ups over the last week. So actually, I think this would be a week and a half on account of the fact that I missed Monday, blah, blah, blah. Chaparral 2K actually first asked how many Oakland pinkies. There's a couple. There's a couple. I think Justin had posted one of them not too long ago. And a lot of people have been hitting me up about it because I know for a fact Great Mall is getting it, but I also know that it's going to be dropping online. So any of you guys who are feeling the need to panic and rush to Great Mall, you don't necessarily have to unless you live in the Bay Area. But that one in particular, Graphite Crown, that one will be dropping online. So you're in good shape. Flashfire says, I think I'm having terrible lag on my end this time. No, it's me. It's definitely me because I'm seeing it on my end too, as far as the camera setup. And I did the update. I checked everything, and for some reason, it's still iffy. Yours truly asking any Dodgers pinkies. Come on, dude. Is that even a real fucking question? Top 5 selling team. You really think we're not going to bust out any Dodgers pinkies? Bruh. Anyway, jersey pickups over the last week and a half. Starting with this one first. I've shown one of these off in the past. So this is going to be a reversible style. So Grant Hill on one side, but this is from that odd run when Champion decided, you know what, 2 players are better than one, and you got Michael Jordan on the inverse side. So the last one I had picked up was the Stephon Marbury. I said Murray. Stephon Marbury, Allen Iverson reversible. So now I got the Grant Hill Michael Jordan combo right here. Boom. Yeah, dude, they did reversible jerseys. There's a Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant that I still need to pick up. Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal. What were the other ones? Chris Webber and Sean Kemp. That was a really odd one. And what's funny is I have a blank for that Wizards Cleveland Cavaliers combo. So I got to send that one to my buddy Marlon and get whatever random ass players I want to get for that one. So, but it does exist that the Sean Kemp and Chris Webber, and that is definitely one I still need to scoop up. Manzer 50 ass. My Astros from the crawfish pack came. It's fire. That's awesome. I'll be dead honest. That collection was kind of unusual because I didn't know we were dropping it until we were in LA. But if my memory serves me correct, all of those hats from that particular pack were supposed to be in Houston when we did the pop-up event for HTX 24. I think they just came in late, and so that's why we just did them as a separate pack for online. So anyway, Flashfire says updated the app. We'll see if that works. Hopefully it does. Chaparral 2K says, also, Ben, you got me looking on eBay for champion jerseys. A lot of Chris Webber Bullets jerseys, eh? Yeah, dude. I mean, he wore number 2. He wore number 4. Bullets wise, there were actually 2 different versions of the number 4. One with blue lettering on the back for his last name, one with white lettering on the back for his last name. Then, of course, there's the rare white one. I was gonna say, I think the only Chris Webber, and I mean, this goes Warriors, Kings, Bullets, Wizards. The only one I don't have is the one I just talked about, which is that reversible Sean Kemp, Chris Webber one, which is kind of strange. But then again, that one is so hard tracked down that, I've been in the game for 29 years tracking all these jerseys down, so I can wait another 29 more to pick it up. Cozy asks, is the San Francisco Giants 89 World Series patch pinky dropping Saturday? No, not this Saturday, but it will drop in May. I can tell you that. All right. Anyway, jersey number 2. I already have this one, but for the price that it was, and plus it's a double X. Danielle Marshall, Golden State Warriors from the Thunder era. Because like I said, I have 2 of these now. I'm actually considering stripping the last name off of one of these so I can, I don't know, change it to like a Bobby Sura or something like that. I think that actually be kind of badass because Bobby Sura did wear number 3 and he did play for the Golden State Warriors. So something to keep an eye out on. But most importantly, I've been trying to track this jersey down for a long ass time. I talked about it last week. I thought it was going to come in earlier. It did not. It actually came in late Monday, so it's kind of a good thing we're doing the show Thursday so I can show it off. I own officially now, every single black Orlando Magic jersey that Champion ever made. This last one that I have in my hand is the one that I've been trying to track down forever. Did not realize it would be so hard to do. I've come across 2 in my lifetime, and somehow I was able to finagle this one. It sent me back about 220, which is not the end of the world, but it's way better than like 300. So anyway, here it is. Boom. Number 4, you might be thinking Ronnie Cycli, but it's not. I already have a couple Ronnie Cycli jerseys. Scott Skiles, who still holds the NBA record for most assists in a game at 30. Amazingly was able to track this down, and it's in phenomenal condition. So yeah, shout out to you, Scott Skiles. I'm so glad I was able to add this, dude. It is crispy, 100%. I don't know when I'm gonna bust it out, but it's gonna have to be sometime relatively soon, probably after the playoffs are over, where since the Orlando Magic got knocked out. But I don't know. Maybe I'll have to take it to Vegas with me. I'm not saying like 4 is a lucky number, and it's not necessarily a number I play in roulette or craps, but it could come in handy. You never know. Chaparral says, in fact, the straight black Magic jersey without the pinstripe is gas. I agree with that, and that is why I was very persistent on tracking down every single one. I don't mind the pinstripe jerseys. I think they actually look really cool. Like, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, just a solid black one, dude. Fucking heat, man. Fucking heat. Anyway. Speaking of heat, let's get on with the rest of the show. College Football 25 from EA Sports finally has a drop date. That is going to be July 18th, of course. You can get your pre-orders in right now, and for an extra $50, you get Madden 25. So more than likely, Austin and I will probably go that route because the fact that once the college football season or the NFL season comes back around anyway, we need to get the updated version of Madden so we can continue watching me play god-awful football on a damn near weekly basis for Flip the Script. But the fact that we get extended into the college form right now is friggin' amazing. And especially considering as big of an Oregon fan as I am, with the move to the Big Ten, and how amazing that schedule looks right now. I mean, I hope to God we don't have to do flip the script necessarily with Oregon. I just hope they just go undefeated the entire season, make their way in the college playoff, and maybe go to the national championship. That would be dope. But at least I'll have that option to have a redemption story if they stumble along the way. But yeah, not surprised by the selections in regard to who's on the cover. Ewers, Henry, and Robinson, of course, for Michigan. Makes sense. I have no qualms against this. For anybody who's saying it should have been Shedeur Stevenson, come on, let's be real. Hunter Henry, or not Hunter Henry, Henry Hunter. Hunter. Both sides of the ball. Easily the best player they got on their team. And that's no dismissal of Shedeur Sanders' talents. But when you're playing both sides of the ball and you're doing it effectively, I think realistically you're the best player on the team. So that's just me. But yeah, I agree. Vizrod, the cover looks amazing. And even like the advanced or like the special edition copy. Travis Hunter, thank you. I knew as soon as I said Hunter Henry, it completely screwed me up, and everything I was going to come out of my mouth was going to be wrong. Thank you, Travis Hunter. Did I say Dion? Did I say Stevenson? Oh my god. I'm a mess right now. I'm gonna blame it on the choking hazard that I had to start the show. Oh, that's just bad. That's just bad form by me. My God. Logan Harris says, can't wait for the unofficial holiday days to come mid-July. Dude, that's gonna be. I mean, it couldn't happen at a better time. I mean, nobody's gonna be in school. Let's be. Yeah, that's a valid point, Viz. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. I'm still pissed at Cap Crusader from yesterday, man. That dude got in my head big time. We're obviously not going to be doing a lot of work in July. At least I won't. I'll be playing college football the for like an entire week. So, oh my god. But anyway, looking forward to that. Let's see if I can not screw up the rest of the show. Caitlin Clark, big deal, making her WNBA debut this week against the Connecticut Sun. Unfortunately, in a 92-71 loss to the Sun. But hey, big deal. Most watched WNBA game in 23 years, 2.1 million viewers. And the unfortunate part for her is it clearly wasn't her best game. I mean, come on. She just came to the league. Defense for the Sun was going to be attacking her hard. Let's be real. She's the new girl on the block, whatever. But regardless of which, 20 points in a debut game, that's pretty fucking solid. And I'll get to the full stat line here in a second. But of course, the one detail that a lot of people are super hung up about is the fact that she now has the WNBA record for most turnovers in a debut game. Now, I don't know how much you guys are like vested or know like the entire history of the WNBA. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but all the names on this list are pretty substantial names. Most notably, Cynthia Cooper. I mean, the fact that she'd been holding this record since 1997, since the conception of the WNBA, is kind of a big deal. Not to mention the fact that multi-Olympic gold medal winning Cynthia Cooper, hands down one of the greatest women's basketball players in WNBA history, if not collegiate history, Hall of Famer. Monica Wright there at number 3 in a multiple way tie for 7 turnovers in their debut game. Monica Wright, 2-time WNBA champion. Shannon Johnson, Andrea Stinson, pretty solid in their own right. Lisa Leslie, another WNBA champion and Hall of Famer, as is Penny Toller. So big deal. I think the real testament to this one is get the shittiest game you can possibly play out of the way, your first game of your career. And then that way, from this point forward, it's just an ascension to the top. So personally for me, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But in regard to any of the other rookies that played that night, Cameron Brink for Los Angeles had a solid game, 11 points, 2 boards, 4 assists, 2 blocks, went 4 for 6 in 20 minutes. Not bad. Angel Reese for Chicago, 12 points, 8 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 5 for 14 for field goals, to which case Caitlin Clark, 5 for 15 on field goals, played 6 extra minutes, whatever. But at least Caitlin Clark had 20 points, 3 assists, 2 steals. But that 10 turnover mark, of course, is going to be a bit of a black eye, at least for the next couple of games. It's not the end of the world. So good for her. Yeah, Vizrod, you're 100% right. Cameron Brink was outstanding. Cameron Brink is an oddity. I mean, great looking girl. Don't get me wrong. But every time I see her, I don't think basketball player. I see either soccer player or volleyball player. I don't know why. But anytime she's on the court and I finally watch a game, and especially for the few games that I watched when she played at Stanford, she's unbelievable. So, but she just doesn't have like a typical frame for a basketball player. Like she's super rail thin. Um, and I'm not saying, oh, she needs to get huge or anything like that, but get a little bit more muscle on there, especially if you're playing the post. Got to muscle your way in, throw some elbows in there, get those easy layups and hook shots in there. I'm not saying you got to go out there and dunk it, but skills wise, pretty solid. I'm not going to repeat that. Flashfire says 2 for 8 free throws for Reese. Yikes. But everybody's nervous. You're on a much bigger stage. Theoretically, like I would say in regard to women's basketball I can confidently say for the last 30 years, college has been the bigger game. Yes, we've had the WNBA since 1997, but realistically, the college game, and especially more so with the success that UConn has had for so many years, Baylor in the mix, LSU in the mix, and especially between the rivalry between LSU and Iowa, I would say women's college basketball was definitely a little bit bigger than WNBA. Clearly, things are going to change over right now because of the fact that these starlets are now at the professional level, which is dope. It's going to be really fun to see them ball out over the summer during the Olympics. I'm looking forward to see that team set up. So anyway, Logan Rose says, got to hit the weight room, get that Kelsey Plum build. Yeah. And I purposely steered away from anything Kelsey Plum related because obviously nothing has happened in regard to Kelsey Plum over the last few days that anybody is talking about online. My God. Probably a good thing my wife is not here and I am happily married, but Kelsey Plum, very attractive lady. The only downside I will say in regard to Kelsey Plum, not the popcorn thing. The popcorn thing was goofy as hell. But at the end of the day, Kelsey Plum is a Washington Husky. I can't abide by that. And I will say that is the whole reason why she and Darren Waller split up. I'm wrong, but whatever. It's not that important. But I will still say, in regard to anybody who still blows my mind just rocketing t-shirts into a crowd, Kelsey Plum. That girl's got a fucking cannon. Oh, man. Okay. Moving away from this. NBA draft lottery. I don't know about you guys, but I get excited every time they do this. Yeah, it's only a 30-minute presentation. We don't actually see the drawing like we did back in the day when David Stern rigged it in the 1985 draft lottery for the New York Knicks with the whole frozen envelope with the flexible corner, et cetera, et cetera. But, it is a relatively complex lottery system of ball drawing, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, if you guys didn't see, wait, hold on. Logan says death taxes, Ben's bias on Benchwarmers. 100%. 100%. Here was the percentage odds of actually getting the number 1 pick. And, Pistons Wizards were definitely looking to be a lock, especially considering the absolute tank job they did throughout the regular season. Hornets, I feel like, did actually pretty decent, just kind of got hamstrung by injuries. And of course, them trading PJ Washington, who I'm going to talk about in a little bit in regard to the Thunder Mavericks series, because my God, he has been phenomenal for the Mavericks. What a hell of a trade that was. Trailblazers had, realistically, one chance to get into the top 4 spot with as bad as they did because they still got the Golden State Warriors pick. Which of course, took them down to the 14th pick, because if that was going to be a top 4 spot, the Golden State Warriors were going to retain it. But that was not the case here. So needless to say, with a 3% chance of getting the number 1 pick and the fact that the Atlanta Hawks had never had a number one overall pick in NBA draft history. Needless to say, all of us were incredibly surprised when they pulled out the Atlanta Hawks placard out of the envelope for that number one pick. Incredible. And of course, a couple people in the comments already talking about the Hawks are going to be trading Trey. Excuse me, are going to be trading Trey. Um, Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if I've seen reports on Twitter. I don't know how substantiated they are or whatever that he kind of wants out because he wants some stars around him, etc. He wants to build a team there. That's good and all, but at the end of the day, it's like, dude, you're still fucking young, man. I don't know what the hell has gotten into these kids who have only been in the league for like a very short period of time and the absolute need to build a superstar team where you're at. It's just like, no, you're the franchise player. Yeah, the talent will come. It might take a little bit of time. Just continue building your game, get your bag, etc. Just don't make all these crazy demands. Like this makes absolutely no sense. It's new law. It's not. Louise says Hawks got the trade your star, and we will give you the number one pick deal. I mean, there is that possibility there. I'm not saying that's a bad mood or anything like that. And then Vizrod says, I think Murray is a better fit for the Hawks than Trey. I kind of agree with that. And especially for the job that Murray's been doing for the last couple of years, I could see that. But as far as the results, penciled in Hawks, Wizards, Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs were the top four. Pistons falling to the five, which is shocking. Hornets at the six. And like I said, Portland Trailblazers fell down to the seventh spot, but they also have the 14. And realistically, the last time the Blazers were in this position was the year that they drafted Damian Lillard with the sixth overall pick because they had the 11th pick. They picked up Myers Leonard, who kind of borderline worked out for them for a number of years and then just kind of like, fell by the wayside just because he kept disappearing in the postseason and stuff like that. And then, of course, his stupidity on the internet, which basically got him, kind of borderline blackball from the NBA. But I don't feel bad necessarily for the Blazers being in this kind of like mid top of the order position. Blazers are obviously my side team. And let's be real, this year's draft is not very strong outside of like the first five picks. So who knows? I mean, Portland could just get crazy and make some trades, get rid of some picks, whatever, bring in some stars. You never know. Um, it's not Luis was talking about like New Orleans did. Yep, 100%. Logan Herrera says, chalk it up to how the league is built now. Very little loyalty with how ownership deals with players. And I agree with that. Um, there's two sides to every story on this, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm just throwing all the blame on the players, no matter what their age is. But at some point, there is the reality of like, if you've only been in the league for like maybe like less than 5 years, it's okay, man. It's totally okay if you don't have a championship yet. There's a lot of other players who have been in the league for like 12 plus years who still don't have a championship yet and wish they had the level of talent that you did. You've kind of got to let the process work itself out. Not like Philly, because Philly, letting the process work out as much as they have, and they still haven't gotten a championship out of it. I borderline feel bad for them, but because they're in the Eastern Conference, it doesn't bother me as much. But anyway, moving on into a draft related thing, which to me is still incredibly surprising that this is a thing. Uh, Bronny James, LeBron James Jr. Obviously declared for the NBA draft. We've talked about this before. He went through the combine this last week and apparently got pretty favorable responses from a lot of teams. The most interesting things that kind of came from this is one, based on his measurement, he's only coming up at 6'1.5" tall, which is kind of interesting in the sense where it's just like, and that's without shoes on. I got to emphasize that without shoes, Bronny James is 6'1.5". I, without shoes, am 6'3". So I'm not saying that means anything necessarily because Bronny James is a hell of a lot more talented at basketball than I ever was in my lifetime and will ever be. But his 40.5-inch vert, very impressive. Great conditioning wise. From what everybody said in regard to pickup games, he did pretty well. Um, Personally, for me, and as I say, let me grab some water real quick. personally for me, as as somebody who follows the Pac-12, which of course no longer exists for college basketball, as closely as I do, I still feel like Bronny James needs one more year in college to really improve upon his numbers. And here's what I'm talking about. This season at USC, Bronny James, 4.8 average points, 2.8 rebounds, 2.1 assists. Granted, a lot of his games were coming off the bench. He had a few starts here and there, but for the most part, he was coming off the bench. And this is also a kid, and I think it's kind of funny that nobody has really talked about this as often as they should. We're talking about a kid who, before the start of the season, at like not too long after he made his decision to go to USC, had heart surgery. And what that's going to mean in the long run. I mean, he looked solid. I mean, for the minutes that he got, that was kind of the other part is he was on a minutes restriction because you don't want to overwork this kid. You don't want to give him a shock to the heart because last thing you want is a Hank Gather situation, or even a Reggie Lewis situation with the Boston Celtics back in the early 90s. So, kind of tread lightly on this. And of course, there's stories coming out, being pushed by Stephen A. Smith, who, you know, journalism aside, I still feel like he's pushing dials for a lot of teams, because he has friends around the league, most notably LeBron James being one of them. And there's the whole stipulation that if Bronny James gets drafted, LeBron James, of course, wants to play on the same team as his son for at least, he didn't say a set specific time, but it seems like at least 1 year they want to do it. It would be the only father-son duo in NBA history, which personally, I think that's a big deal. Um, but the talk from Stephen A is saying Dallas is going to be the team that's going to draft Bronny, in an effort to obviously sway LeBron to go over there as well. And so there's the possibility that it would be Bronny, LeBron, Kyrie, Luca, PJ Washington, and some other dudes, which I'm not going to lie, it would be a pretty fucking savage team. But then again, it's just like you still have to burn a pick. And apparently the Utah Jazz, who I think have the 32nd pick in the first round, are looking his way. Danny Ainge is a pretty solid talent assessor, I think is the right way of saying it. So, there is some truth to that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm emphasizing too much on, his stat line and a couple other things. Personally, for me, I still feel like one more year in college is all it's going to take. Logan Herrera says he needs at least 2 more seasons to be a lottery pick. Only reason he gets drafted this year is because of name, and then we'll probably peter out after like 7 years. I hope I'm wrong because he's LeBron's kid, but he can be a good role player right now. Yeah. And Flashfire says Stephen A has got worse than ever before. I kind of agree with that. So there's a lot of moving parts to this, not gonna lie. Um, I'm looking forward to the NBA draft. I love watching it, and especially for those back-to-back years at Barclays Center, I was able to go. I would love to go again because the entire spectacle of the NBA draft is phenomenal. The suit wear, always on point, and it's always a good time. And I definitely enjoy it more than the NFL draft. Like the NFL draft is definitely more of a spectacle in the sense of fan interaction, just because they cram so many people in there. And with the NBA draft, it's a little bit more subsided just because it's in an actual NBA arena. It's not some big open forum like the NFL draft is, where they can forcefully cram as many people as possible. Um, but it's kind of like Oscar night in a sense. That's why I've always liked the NBA draft. So I'm curious to see where he's going to end up, and who's going to roll the dice on him. So, because yeah, if the possibility that you get LeBron James out of it might be worth taking. You never know. Speaking of the NBA playoffs, Denver. What the hell, man? They got their shit together in a hurry. The other night, of course, Tuesday, with the 112-97 victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves, not only for their third straight victory in the postseason, but they now lead the series 3-2 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves looked nasty in those first 2 games, and Denver just looked like they had absolutely no reason to be in the postseason, looked absolutely lost. But then there's the reality. You put Rudy Gobert back into the lineup, and oh my God, the wheels fall off. And, I was saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks. If there was anybody in the league who should have gotten that Defensive Player of the Year award, it should have been Victor Wembanyama. And, yes, I realize regular season accomplishments are different than what's going on in the postseason. But at the end of the day, for Rudy to be a multi defense player of the year winner and not showing up in the postseason, it's kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. Vizrod saying 7 foot dumb and dumber back at it. Yes. It's painful to see. And I love the hell out of Anthony Edwards for taking responsibility for this because he doesn't want to throw any of his teammates under the bus. But at the end of the day, let's be real. Anthony Edwards is not the reason why the Timberwolves have not necessarily shown up in the last 3 games. Tone Cruz, what's going on? Logan R says, been a Gobert header since COVID. Can you to pray for his downfall? Oh my God. I get it. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, wow. And of course, game 6 is going for them tonight. I will give you guys my prediction at the end of the show because it is part of Ben's bets this week. It is actually going to be my lock of the week for this week. So anyway, Chaparral says Gobert created COVID. They're trying to suppress this info. Oh my God, you guys are terrible. Boston Celtics. I think it was Albino was in the chat yesterday for recap, just kept updating everybody on the score of the game. 113-98 is the final score. Donovan Mitchell, of course, did not play the last couple games for the Cavaliers, which pivotal for the Cavs of him not being there. And from what I've been seeing on social media, Donovan Mitchell is not stoked about the situation in the Cleveland Cavalier locker room. So I don't know. I don't know if this, they're going to bury the hatchet and figure everything out for next season, or if as soon as the offseason comes around, we got the draft coming up, of course. We just talked about a second ago. Maybe they'll trade him. You never know. But regardless of which, this series went 5 games, which is exactly how I predicted it. No, I did not think the Cavaliers were going to take a game in Boston, which they did obviously in game 2. I figured they were going to win the first game in Cleveland, much in the same way that the Indiana Pacers did for their series. But I did say the Boston Celtics were going to win in 5, and it had definitely happened. The Boston Celtics are tough. No glaring issues, offensive, defensively going on right now. No injuries or anything like that. The Boston Celtics look scary right now, at least from an Eastern perspective. And, they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and now they have to wait and see if that's going to be, if they're going to see their opponent tomorrow, because obviously Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks game 6 is going to be in Indiana tomorrow. But I'm hoping the Pacers win and force that game 7 on Sunday. Because realistically, and I'm not pulling this out of my ass, these are true things. The Pacers did much better against the Celtics during the regular season than the Knicks did. 2-2. Split the series. And that includes the in-season tournament win. I mean, so between the two teams, the Pacers are the better fit to go against and possibly take down Boston. I don't think the Knicks can do it, but that's just me. It's not Luis says they'll lose one game to either the Knicks or the Pacers. I feel like the Pacers can do a better job than just one win. Come on. That's just me. Just Shady G. What up? And of course, I just talked about this a little bit ago. 104-92 victory for the Dallas Mavericks. They take a clinching spot right now in the series between them and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I talked a little bit ago in regard to PJ Washington basically being the last piece the Mavericks needed to really get a push. And, a double-double for him on top of what Luka and Kyrie are doing on the floor. Double-double there, of course, for Lively as well. But Luka, triple-double, 31 points, 10 boards, 11 assists. Why not? I feel like this series is going to end in game 6 in favor of the Mavericks, which is good. I've said this for a long time. I hate the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's your bias for you. because I am still crusty and bitter in regard to the experience that happened with the Seattle Supersonics and their fans. But that has nothing to do with this current squad or anything like that. I just don't want to see the Thunder win any kind of championships before the Seattle franchise is back in Seattle. So Flashfire says nobody except Shy is doing anything for OKC. 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. So I feel like that's ending soon. And speaking of which, for tomorrow, obviously I said the Pacers Knicks game 6 is going to happen in Indianapolis. The best thing running for Indianapolis right now is the fact that the Pacers have not lost a single home game in the postseason, and I still don't think it's going to happen, which is why I feel like it's strongly going to be going to 7 games. 12:30 start time on Sunday is absolutely insane. Yeah, I know it's an East Coast game, but still should be a little bit later in the day. But yeah, based on the way this series has gone, makes absolutely no sense to me. It started off obviously as the best series of the postseason. Close game in game one, which case the Pacers got boned in those last 2 minutes by the refs. Whatever, we're past it. Game two is kind of a little bit of the same thing. Pacers just fell apart. They could not hit a free throw to save their life down the stretch. But game three, they really came in their own. Shout out to Andrew Nebhart for hitting that game winner, essentially game winner, to put them up by 3. And of course, they won by 5. And, the 32-point blowout in game 4. Awesome. Until game 5, and the Knicks put on the same show against the Pacers by winning by 30. Almost the same identical score, which is absolutely crazy. So the Pacers have it. They are the most potent offense in the NBA, and I'm not just making that up. This is a true fact. They are the most efficient offensive team in the NBA. Yes, their defense needs a bit of work, but they have flashes of greatness on the defensive end. The biggest thing that is killing them right now is rebounding. Hartkin, oh my God, that dude is a monster, as is Josh Hart. Josh Hart, just like for whatever reason, just turned on Dennis Rodman mode anytime the Knicks throw up a shot, or even the Pacers for that matter. Like that dude is just locked in to where the ball goes. And Hartenstein, I screwed up his name a second ago. Hartenstein, there goes my camera. I'm still here. Hold on one sec. Um, Hartenstein, in regard to offensive rebounding for the Knicks, is what is basically paving their way to a championship. Um, any Knicks fan who's still complaining about how hamstrung they are based on injuries and whatever, y'all got a 3-2 series lead right now. Like, and the fact that you guys won the first 2 games, yeah, you started complaining after game 3 and game 4 that, oh, injuries are catching up and whatever. It's like, what the fuck does that mean, dude? You guys won the first 2 games. Like, deal with it. This is part of the game. Bucks fans were complaining about the same thing in the first round, and it's like, you know what? I've said this many times. The Pacers took down the Bucks during the regular season 4-1. It didn't matter if Giannis or Dame was there. At the end of the day, the Pacers were taking that series. And, you know, I still feel great about Indiana's chances to win this series. They should. Shooting's been solid. The bench has been amazing for the Pacers, definitely more so than I would say for the Knicks. But at the end of the day, rebounding, rebounding, rebounding. And not to mention the fact that there are moments when the Pacers will just get wild and just start taking 3 balls like crazy. And that drives me absolutely insane because they have so many opportunities of cutting the basket, making the easy layups, getting why I will give Josh Hart, Vincenzo. I think my shit just kind of cut out there. So I'm gonna have to start this over again. Hold on one second. Going to be Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, and even some of their bench players. They'll take it inside on the Pacers and basically force fouls on them. Yeah, they're not hitting at a high percentage, but it doesn't matter. If you're getting fouled and you go on the free throw line and you ice those free throws, you're in good shot. But when it's Jalen Brunson, he's hitting those most of the time and converting a lot of 3-point plays. So I don't know why the Pacers don't emulate this same style of offense, especially considering the fact that they have the size to be able to do it. It drives me crazy. It's not Luis says injuries suck, but they always happen. I've seen many Celtics playoff run end because of injuries. True, but you're not in that position right now. So they're in decent shape, and especially for this long stretch of time off, waiting to see who's going to win between the Pacers and Knicks. I mean, still got like 4 or 5 extra days to kind of figure that one out, for at least for them, and figure out what their offensive defensive game plan is going to be for the Eastern Conference Finals. So anyway, enough of that. NHL. The Rangers, man. I thought they were going to ice this in 4 games. But the Carolina Hurricanes do not want to go quietly into that night. They, of course, won on Monday. They're going to play again tonight. Canes with the 4-1 victory for two straight. Two straight. They are back in Carolina tonight. So it'll be interesting. And I know David Kearns and Dino are going to be losing their shit if the Canes get the win tonight. So we'll see what happens. Boston Bruins, of course, won on Tuesday to get them a 1 game closer. Panthers still lead the series 3-2. I, of course, was wrong about the outcome of game 1. That was part of my Ben's bets for the previous time. But Panthers rattled off 3 straight victories after that. So get that win. I don't want to see Bruins anywhere near the Eastern Conference Finals. F them. And then, of course, the other big game tonight, Canucks and Oilers. Oilers got the sneaky win in game 4. But the series is going back to Vancouver tonight. And I got the Canucks. I got the Canucks winning this one. Game 5, taking the 3-2 series lead, baby. Last but not least, Colorado Avalanche got a big win yesterday, 5-3 over the Stars in Dallas, of all places, surprisingly. So going back to Colorado, I could see the Avalanche actually tying this one up. I still personally feel like for depth, they're the better team, even though Dallas is, solid. But our general manager is a diehard Denver Nuggets and Colorado Avalanche fan. So I hope for his sake, the Avalanche actually force a game 7 out of this. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so Rangers Hurricanes tonight, Oilers Canucks tonight as well. Panthers Bruins, Stars Avalanche going at it tomorrow. Go Panthers. Baseball, bit of an interesting transition going from the last time I did the show to this time around because the Baltimore Orioles were on top of the AL East. But here come the Yankees, and apparently here come the Red Sox as well, doing their early to mid-season strike, I guess you can call it. The great thing about the Boston Red Sox is they will have a downfall probably within the next couple of weeks as well. And the Rays will come back on them, which is going to be awesome because I do not want to see the Boston Red Sox finish anywhere but last place in this division this year. But hopefully the Orioles get their shit together. They're not that far behind. 1 game behind. Whatever. Still got time. AL Central, despite the amazing 12-game win streak that the Minnesota Twins had, they've kind of fell on some hard times these last couple games. But then again, so have the Cleveland Guardians, both going 5-5 in their last 10. But the Royals coming up 6-4 in their last 10, only a game and a half behind the Guardians right now. Game up on the Twins, Tigers and White Sox, basically where I kind of expect them to be. So, yeah. And then, of course, in the AL West, a lot of mediocre baseball being played by this division over the last 10 days. Mariners still sticking out at first place by a game and a half over the Rangers. And despite the 6-game winning streak that the Oakland A's had the last time we talked, they have managed to go 2-8 in their last 10, taking a rough beating the Houston Astros, which kind of blows. And so now they're tied for the 3rd and 4th spot. But I don't know. The A's were never really destined to be that great this year, even though I still feel like they have a lot in the tank talent-wise, and I still feel like they have a chance at the playoffs despite the fact that I picked them to finish dead last in the division, but you never know. I hope they figure it out because if anybody deserves it, the players do, the fans do, the ownership, fuck no. Screw those guys. Sell the goddamn team. Phillies. But then the Nationals, the Mets, and the Marlins are just DO. Their season is already done. It's kind of sad, hilarious at the same time. Brewers still top dogging it in the NL Central. Reds disappointing me because I picked them to win the division this year. I thought they'd be better than they are. And it's kind of depressing to see them in the cellar tied with the Cardinals for last place. But Pirates in 3rd, I can deal with it. Cubs only a game and a half back on the Brewers. I mean, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I knew the Brewers were going to be the top dog in the Central, and I should have just stuck with that, but whatever. A lot of season left. In the Dodgers, of course, I picked them to finish basically third in the division this year. More than likely, that's not going to happen when you got a 7.5 game lead right now. And every team that's behind you is below 500. Yeah, the Padres are only 7.5 back, as are the Diamondbacks, but the Dodgers look really good. And I still feel like injuries are going to be a problem for the Dodgers at some point. I just don't know when. And that's going to be what's going to take for the Padres and Diamondbacks to kind of get back into it. Same with the Giants. Jorge Soler, bro, if you're in a fucking batting cage, put on a goddamn helmet. Dude comes back from the IL, goes in the cage, hits one up in the air, bounces off his head. He's out, dude. It's a goddamn mess, man. And then of course they lost one of their outfielders due to a dislocated shoulder. I gotta stop myself right there because I actually know a little bit more of that detail than anything. But Rays are up 3-1 against Boston. There we go, baby. I just saw it. Um, it's it's not wrong to hate. It's never wrong to hate. Flashfire says, screw everyone already thinking about trading Mason Miller. This is part of why fans stop going to games. Exactly. Dude is having a lights out, probably is going to win reliever of the year this year, despite the team that he's on. And if the A's are already serious about trading him, fuck this organization, man. That is insane. They have so much time and control left on his contract. And if you dish him now, despite the great numbers that he's putting up, like what are you doing as an organization? And what does that say to your potential, you know, oh yeah, we're gonna win when we get to Vegas? Fuck that, man. Fuck that and fuck them. It's insane, man. Fat doing X says Shohei to goat. I know. I got to admit that. He's balling out right now. EPL. We are in the final week of the English Premier League season. This is going to cover the last week and a half for the games as we go into the final stretch and figure out who is going to be the top dog of the EPL this year. Of course, Man City's got a 1-point lead on Arsenal right now. But like I said, this is going back to Saturday, May 11th in regard to games because a few teams played twice throughout this week. Man City 4-0 victory over Fulham. No surprise there. Everton 1-0 victory over Sheffield United. Not really surprised there. Sheffield United's getting relegated anyway, so they really had nothing to play for. West Ham finally getting off the schneid with a 3-1 victory over Luton Town. Luton Town also getting relegated after this week. Crystal Palace been on a hell of a heater. Six match unbeaten streak because they have 5 wins, 1 draw, and they're scoring a shitload of goals. Not sure what got into them as late as it did. I mean, for their sake, I kind of wish they did better in the beginning of the season and kind of match what's going on right now. Because I'd like to see underdogs, do really well in the EPL. But anyway, 3-1 victory over Wolverhampton. Tottenham squeaking out a win against Burnley, 2-1. And Newcastle Brighton with the draw. No real surprise there. Chelsea, big win, 3-2 over Nottingham Forest. Shout out to Murdrick Sterling and Nicholas Jackson. Scoring. That's what we like to see. And of course, going to Sunday, Arsenal 1-0 victory over Man United. Your boy called that. I'll get to that one here in a sec. Aston Villa Liverpool 3-3 draw. A lot of goals, but only each on this one. Man City, of course, taking out Tottenham with a 2-0 victory. That put them on top of Arsenal, despite the fact that Arsenal had beaten Manchester United. Chelsea, another win against Brighton, 2-1. Excellent work there, boys. I'll get to that in a second of why this is such a big deal. And I know Steve Wright is pretty hyped about it because we're both Chelsea guys. Man United with a victory over Newcastle 3-2. Very important detail about this when I get to the final table, which is right now. Give me one sec. My computer is freaking out right now. All right, there we go. I hate my computer. I hate everything about this. So there it is. Sorry, I said 1-point lead, 2-point lead. My apologies. Manchester up 88-86 point total wise. Liverpool at 79. Aston Villa at 68. There is your top 4 regardless. And shout out to Aston Villa for sticking in the top 4. They're going to Champions League next year, baby. Tottenham just absolutely crumbling down the stretch. I mean, look at that. 4 losses in their last 5 matches. Incredible. And I talked about this a few weeks ago. The possibility of Chelsea actually finishing in the top 5 is still in the air. All they have to do is Tottenham has to lose, Chelsea has to win, and that's kind of it. Just because the fact that from a goal differential perspective, Chelsea actually has 3 in hand on Tottenham. So miracles can happen. And remember correctly, Chelsea was at like maybe like 2 months ago. So to have that final bit of a turnaround at season's end and the possibility of either you're going to finish in the 6th spot, the 5 spot, um, I'm kind of good either way. I guess it really depends if Newcastle wins this Saturday as well and what happens with Chelsea, because there is the possibility that Chelsea could still finish in the 7th spot because of goal differential, whatever. But hopefully Chelsea gets the win. Tottenham gets the loss. Sorry, screwed that one up. Finishing 5th, baby. But yeah, Newcastle, Man United, West Ham, Brighton finishing out the top 10 for now. Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Wolverhampton, Fulham, Everton staying despite the 10-point deduction they got. Because, I mean, let's look at that. If they didn't get that 10-point deduction, 40 points they're at right now, I mean, they'd be sitting in the 10th spot, which is actually pretty solid considering the fact that they almost got relegated last year. So way to overcome adversity. Players had nothing to do with why they got the deduction. That all has to do with Everton's board and trustees and stuff. They fucked up on this, but good on the players for pulling through and finishing strong for the season. Brentford at 16, Nottingham Forest at 17 because of goal differential going on there. Luton Town, Burnley, Sheffield United are going to be the 3 teams being relegated no matter what happens at the end of this weekend. Kind of unfortunate for them. I was hoping Luton Town was going to hang around, but Burley, Sheffield United, I knew were going back down. But what does that mean on the level below the championship? Well, Leicester City coming back up, which I'm actually really happy about, as is Ipswich Town. And of course, for the 3, 4, and 5 spots, Leeds, United, Southampton, West Brom, Albion are all going to duke it out in a playoff format to get that final spot. So I'm looking forward to it. I like soccer. I need to be paying more attention, honestly, for this next season. I feel like I did a pretty poor job of it this year. But yeah, here are my picks from last show. Lock of the week, of course, was the Celtics Cavaliers in game 1. Iced it. I had the Panthers over the Bruins money line for game 1 of that series. Bruins just blew the doors off of Florida on that one. But I said Florida was going to win the series. So still holding on to that one. Dodgers Marlins back on May 8th. That, of course, was the day before we went to Dodger Stadium and took batting practice. That was an awesome experience. Got a tour of the stadium, etc. Super cool. Super grateful to New Era and the Dodgers for allowing us to do that. They, of course, got the win on the Marlins, and Arsenal with the big win over Man United. 3 for 4. I'll take that. 3 for 4. But how is it looking for this week for me? Well, I talked about the Nuggets Timberwolves series was going to be my lock of the week this week for tonight. I got the Nuggets finishing it off tonight. The last 3 games for the Nuggets have really proved they are the championship team. They're the reigning champions for a reason. And if Rudy Gobert is going to be in the lineup for the Minnesota Timberwolves, uh, Joker and company are just going to gobble them up and spit them out. So this series ends tonight in favor of the Nuggets. I talked about the Canucks going back to Vancouver. They're going to get the win over the Oilers. So take the money line, despite the fact that they're not favored tonight. So make a profit. For baseball, I got the Rays over the Blue Jays. That is going to be Saturday's game. And last but not least, my last soccer pick of the EPL season, Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. I'm going draw, baby, plus 310. Why not? I feel like the ballsier thing for me would have done if I would have guaranteed victory for West Ham over Man City, because the odds of that happening are so staggeringly low. I think West Ham is like plus 1900 if they actually pull it off. Um, shit, why not, dude? Throw $5 on it. Miracles, crazy miracles can happen. And the fact that West Ham has been so bad over the last few weeks, maybe this is going to be it, because this is like their Super Bowl type game. Um, Maybe they'll pull it off. Maybe I'll have to call my buddy up and just see if he can throw $5 on it for me. I think it'd be worth it to do it. Sadly, being in California, I can't do it myself on an app or anything like that, which is a bit of a bummer. Because yeah, dude, that would be stellar. If West Ham can somehow pull off the miracle, and I'm not saying I want Arsenal to win the league as a result of it, because Arsenal still has to win their game. Um, Shit, I'm trying to remember who they're playing. I had this in my head and I just forgot it. So now I got to go to the tape. Hold on one sec, because I'll get the full odds. And what would $5 actually benefit me if this were to happen? So sports, soccer. No, I don't want FA Cup. I want Premier League. There it is. All right, so Arsenal's playing Everton. That's right. Everton is plus 1,300. Arsenal is minus 550 on the money line, of course. I feel like Arsenal is going to win that, but crazier things have happened. As I said, West Ham is plus 1,900 as the road team against Man City. So if they're able to pull off the miracle, but I'm playing it safe. Going Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa for a draw. Like I said, Aston Villa already locked in for that 4th spot, so they're in Champions League next year. So they have really nothing to gain or lose, no matter what the result of this game is, other than if they win, they get points. If they draw, they get a point, whatever. They're not going to drop in seeding or anything like that. Whereas Crystal Palace has been scoring a lot of goals lately. Aston Villa also has the ability to score a lot of goals. So that's why I kind of see this one, finishing in a draw. So, and for whatever reason, more times than none that I've picked a draw for any of these games, I've actually been able to convert those more than the wins. So I will take that. I will take that. So anyway, I want to finish this show by asking you guys a question. And because every now and then, I don't do the show on a Monday. This last Monday was a problem because I'm still sick. If you guys can't hear it in my voice, like I'm still sick. Um, it sucks. And so I've been kind of curious. Do you like hats? No, the question is, and actually, Steven, you're the reason why I'm asking this question. It's a 2-part question. Number one, do you guys prefer if I did Benchwarmers on Monday or Thursday? And then the second part of that question is going to be, do you prefer me going back to the old 9 a.m. West Coast time format? Or do you want me to stick with this afternoon format, either at 4 or 4:30? I'm going to put a poll up on Twitter to kind of pick your guys' brain, because I feel like that's probably a more accurate way to kind of assess this. Um, I'm personally good with any of the scenarios out of this. Like when I did them in the morning, I actually felt like in a way the shows were a little bit better. Just because I wake up first thing in the morning, I'm more relaxed. Just get some water, crush a heater, and then I do the show, and then I go into my meetings and stuff for the rest of the day. And I'm not stressing about it throughout the rest of the day. So Flashfire says money is easier for him, at least. Time not so important. Okay. Southside says Benchwarmers AM. JM1620 says afternoons work best any day of the week. Okay. So yeah, I'll throw that poll up a little bit later, or actually like not too long after I finish the show. Dude, I I hate this. I hate this camera. I hate all this technology, whatever. I don't know why this is all happening. So I didn't want to mess with anything last night because I talked about it on recap. I just need to disconnect. I'm going max headroom right now. This is crazy. Um, I need to disconnect everything and just basically reassemble everything, and hopefully that's going to fix everything that's going on here. Um, Vizrod says, random note, got accepted to UIC business. Dude, congratulations, bro. That's awesome. I love that. Good for you, man. Southside says trademark for first slice is probably lapsed. Yeah. Oh my god. So anyway, seriously, Vizra, that's a huge deal, man. I'm super pumped for you. Super pumped for you. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of it for the show this week. I will be back on Monday. just because Thursday I will be going to Vegas in the evening. I think our flight's at like 7, so I can't do the show at like 4 or whatever. So Monday for sure I'm gonna have to do it. Which that day is gonna be fucking crazy for me because I gotta do something early in the morning at Great Mall. And then as soon as I'm done with the show, I gotta go back to Great Mall because we're doing inventory out of that night. So I'm gonna be gassed. But anyway, guys, as always, I appreciate the time I get with you. Love talking sports with you guys. And yeah, I definitely want to accommodate you guys as much as I possibly can on this because you guys consistently turn up and tune in for me, and I appreciate that. And yeah, just look forward to gabbing about sports. And just ADG says, sounds like the AM is the best bet, brother. I kind of agree with that. I think it's a smart move. It's better just start my day with that rather than end with it. Um, so yeah, I think I'll probably just do that. So anyway, guys, as always, take it easy. And if you don't take it sleazy, I will see you guys Monday. Take care. God bless. Peace. I don't know about the best bets. There we go.